From ages 0 to age 10, I lived in a pretty negative and abusive household. My father and mother argued constantly. After their divorce, through the later part of my elementary school, it got to the point where the house was so quiet from a lack of their arguing that I couldn't even concentrate on my homework. I was so used to having that background negativity that I couldn't even function normally as a person without it. After I left high school, I did what I felt like my family wanted to do. I went to UT to try to get a business degree there. That was an absolute waste of time. After that, dropped out of college almost entirely. I picked up a history course here and there and dropped them halfway through the semester. I had very little ambition in my life at the time. I actually picked up playing Halo professionally in a league until it moved to Arkansas. And that sort of actually pushed me to find other work. By happen chance, I came across a job working at the Picture People, which was cookie cutter family portraiture, white backdrop, the Sears type portrait of the snotty 2-year-old smiling, if you can get them to smile by tickling them. This whole exploration is, well, how can this be the best thing that ever happened to me? How can coming from a negative childhood be something beneficial? How can being sexually abused being something that's beneficial? How can being laid off from your job be something that's beneficial? It forced me to re-examine where I was going. I knew I wasn't done with photography. It had started something in me that I really needed to explore. I ended up getting, I enrolled here in the photography program. I really found an affinity for still life because I felt like it was so simple. And it's not something that people really appreciate these days. And when I was a child, I didn't even appreciate it. I was trying to say, every time I'd see a still life painting in a museum or something like that, it's like, why are you even bothering with a bowl of fruit? Come on, let's make some art that really means something. And that helped me understand what the commercial world needs from my photography. So I started exploring all of that. I found that it's something as simple as a clean photograph with a headline and a little bit of body copy is enough to sell a product. And I really relied on that benchmark for a lot of my design as I went through the school, and I felt like it distinguished me from the rest of the students because I had such heavy use of photography, whereas most of the students were relying on illustration or just simple blocks of color or typography or something like that. It really pushed me to examine again the things that I tried to think about when I was age 10 through 20. How do I perceive the world? And how do I orate that in speech? How do I orate those ideals to my fellow classmates? What I determined is that Western culture's family life is broken, and Western culture family intimacy is broken, for the most part. I mean, I'm not gonna say that, there aren't close families out there that are tight-knit, but thanks to things like abusive parents or divorced single mothers that have to work and can't be with their children, there is a lack of role model now among the vast majority of young adults and older children growing up. That's the question now. How do you create a medium that replaces the commercialized sexuality, the over-commercialized sexuality of America.